A cinematic split-screen scene showing two completely different worlds. On the left side, a beautiful young billionaire woman named Victoria stands confidently in front of a luxurious modern mansion, wearing an elegant white designer dress and expensive diamond jewelry. A black Rolls-Royce is parked beside her, with a breathtaking city skyline in the background during golden hour. She looks graceful, yet lonely. On the right side, a humble young man named Daniel walks home after work through a modest neighborhood, wearing simple worn-out clothes, carrying an old backpack and a small lunchbox. The streets are quiet, with small houses and soft evening light. His face shows kindness, determination, and hope, despite his poverty. A dramatic rainy evening on a quiet city street. A luxurious black Rolls-Royce has broken down in the middle of the road, its headlights glowing through the heavy rain. A beautiful billionaire woman named Victoria stands beside the car, wearing an elegant white dress and holding a useless smartphone with a dead battery, looking worried and helpless. In the distance, a humble young man named Daniel, dressed in simple work clothes with worn shoes and carrying a small backpack, notices her. Rain pours heavily, creating reflections on the wet road. The atmosphere is emotional and cinematic, with realistic lighting, dark storm clouds, soft streetlights, a heartwarming cinematic scene on a rainy evening. A humble young man named Daniel is pushing a luxurious black Rolls-Royce along a wet roadside while heavy rain pours from the sky. His simple work clothes are completely soaked, and his face shows determination and kindness despite his exhaustion. Victoria, a beautiful billionaire woman in an elegant white dress, stands beside the car holding a black umbrella, watching him with surprise and admiration. The road glistens with reflections from streetlights, and a small auto repair garage can be seen in the distance. The atmosphere is emotional and inspiring, symbolizing selfless kindness.
A touching cinematic moment outside a small neighborhood auto repair garage after the rain. The luxury car has been repaired and is parked nearby. Victoria, a beautiful billionaire woman wearing an elegant white dress, gratefully offers Daniel a thick envelope filled with cash. Daniel, dressed in simple worn work clothes, politely raises his hand and refuses the money with a gentle smile. His expression shows honesty, humility, and self-respect. Victoria looks surprised and deeply impressed by his integrity. Warm golden streetlights illuminate the scene, with rain droplets still visible on the pavement. The atmosphere is emotional, inspiring, and filled with quiet respect. A cinematic daytime scene in a modest neighborhood cafe. Victoria, now dressed as an ordinary young woman in simple casual clothes with no jewelry, sits across from Daniel at a small wooden table. Daniel wears clean but inexpensive clothes and smiles warmly as they enjoy cups of tea and a simple breakfast. He has no idea that she is one of the richest women in the city. Sunlight streams through the cafe window, creating a warm, cozy atmosphere. Other customers chat quietly in the background, while Victoria looks genuinely happy and relaxed for the first time in years. The scene captures the beginning of a sincere friendship and growing connection. A beautiful cinematic scene in a peaceful city park during golden hour. Victoria and Daniel are walking side by side along a tree-lined path, laughing and enjoying each other's company. Victoria is dressed in simple casual clothes, hiding her billionaire identity, while Daniel wears neat but inexpensive clothing. They share ice cream and talk happily on a wooden park bench surrounded by colorful flowers and autumn leaves. Daniel looks at Victoria with genuine warmth, while Victoria secretly falls in love with his kindness and honesty. The background features a calm lake, birds flying across the sky, and soft golden sunlight filtering through the trees. The atmosphere is romantic, heartwarming, and full of hope. A dramatic cinematic scene inside a luxurious modern penthouse office with floor-to-ceiling glass windows overlooking a magnificent city skyline at sunset. Victoria stands confidently in an elegant black business suit, revealing her true identity as one of the country's richest businesswomen. Behind her are luxury furnishings, company awards, and a large corporate logo wall. Daniel, dressed in simple clothes, stands frozen in shock, his eyes wide with disbelief as he realizes the truth. The atmosphere is filled with tension and emotion. Warm golden sunlight streams through the windows, creating dramatic shadows. A deeply emotional cinematic scene outside a modern corporate building just after sunset. Daniel, dressed in simple clothes, walks away with tears in his eyes, his shoulders heavy with sadness and self-respect. Victoria runs after him, reaching out with one hand, desperately trying to stop him. Her face is filled with fear, love, and heartbreak. The city lights begin to glow in the background, and the pavement reflects the soft evening light after a light rain. The atmosphere is dramatic, romantic, and emotionally intense, capturing the moment when Daniel says he doesn't want people to think he loves her for her money. A breathtaking romantic proposal scene during golden hour in a peaceful city park. Victoria stands in front of Daniel with tears in her eyes, gently holding both of his hands. She looks at him with sincere love and says, "Then marry me for my heart." Daniel gazes at her with deep emotion, touched by her honesty and kindness. Warm, golden sunlight filters through the tall trees, colorful flowers surround them, and a gentle breeze moves the leaves. The atmosphere is magical, emotional, and full of hope. A magnificent cinematic wedding ceremony filled with elegance and emotion. Victoria, a stunning billionaire bride, wears a breathtaking white wedding gown with a long flowing veil, while Daniel, a humble young man, wears a classic black tuxedo. They stand hand in hand at a beautifully decorated outdoor wedding venue, surrounded by white roses, elegant floral arches, sparkling lights, and smiling guests. In the background, photographers and journalists capture the historic wedding of the billionaire bride and the poor groom. The atmosphere is joyful, romantic, and unforgettable, with golden sunset light illuminating the scene. A cinematic scene inside a luxurious corporate office during daytime. Victoria, now the successful billionaire wife and CEO, sits behind a large executive desk, warmly offering Daniel a high-ranking executive position in her company. She is dressed in an elegant business suit, with a kind and hopeful expression. Daniel, wearing simple but neat clothes, smiles respectfully and gently declines the offer, placing his hand over his heart to show gratitude. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, a modern city skyline is visible. The atmosphere reflects dignity, humility, and mutual respect. A heartwarming cinematic scene in a small neighborhood repair shop during the morning. Daniel, wearing a clean blue mechanic's uniform with light grease stains, is happily repairing a customer's motorcycle with his own hands. The workshop is modest but neat, filled with tools, spare parts, and warm natural sunlight streaming through the windows. Victoria, despite being a billionaire, arrives in simple casual clothes, carrying 2 cups of hot tea, and smiles lovingly at Daniel. He looks up from his work with a warm smile, showing genuine happiness. The atmosphere is peaceful, humble, and full of true love, proving that happiness is found in simple moments rather than wealth. A dramatic, cinematic scene inside a luxurious corporate boardroom during a global financial crisis. Victoria, dressed in an elegant business suit, stands at the head of a long conference table, looking devastated as a massive digital screen behind her displays crashing stock market graphs, falling company shares, and red financial charts. Board members sit in stunned silence, while investors and executives look worried. Papers are scattered across the table, and the atmosphere is filled with tension and uncertainty. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, dark storm clouds gather over the city skyline, symbolizing the collapse of her business empire.
A deeply emotional cinematic scene inside a small, modest apartment at night. Cardboard boxes are stacked in the corner, showing that Victoria and Daniel have recently moved after losing their fortune. Victoria sits quietly on an old sofa, wearing simple clothes. her eyes filled with tears and disappointment as she stares at the floor. Daniel kneels beside her, gently holding both of her hands with a comforting smile, reassuring her that his love has never depended on money. A warm table lamp softly lights the room, creating a peaceful and intimate atmosphere. Outside the window, light rain falls over the city, adding to the emotional mood. A hopeful cinematic morning scene inside Daniel's small neighborhood repair shop. Victoria, once a billionaire CEO, now wears simple, casual clothes with an apron, smiling as she writes customer invoices and organizes spare parts behind a wooden counter. Daniel, wearing a mechanic's uniform, is repairing a customer's motorcycle while greeting people with kindness. The workshop is busy with happy customers waiting patiently, showing that the business is becoming successful through honesty and hard work. Warm sunlight streams through the open garage door, illuminating the scene with optimism and new beginnings. The atmosphere is inspiring, emotional, and filled with teamwork, resilience, and hope. A triumphant cinematic scene several years later. Daniel and Victoria stand proudly in front of a large, modern automotive service center with their business name displayed above the entrance. Multiple customers, a breathtaking cinematic sunset scene outside their newest automotive service center. Daniel and Victoria sit together on a simple wooden bench in AI image prompt English. A heartwarming cinematic sunset scene outside their successful automotive service center. Daniel and Victoria sit side by side on a simple wooden bench, watching the golden sunset together. Victoria rests her head gently on Daniel's shoulder with a peaceful smile. Daniel looks at the horizon with quiet contentment, holding her hand. Behind them stands their thriving service center, with satisfied customers and employees finishing their day. The sky is painted with orange, pink, and purple colors, creating a warm and emotional atmosphere. The scene symbolizes that true happiness comes from love, loyalty, and shared hard work, not wealth. A powerful cinematic ending scene at sunrise. Daniel and Victoria stand hand in hand on top of a peaceful hill overlooking the city where their journey began. They are dressed in simple, elegant clothing, smiling with quiet confidence and genuine happiness. The rising sun bathes the landscape in warm, golden light, symbolizing a new beginning. In the distance, the city skyline glows softly, reminding viewers of the wealth they once had and the life they built together through love and hard work. Birds fly across the bright sky, and a gentle breeze moves the grass around them. The atmosphere is inspirational, emotional, and hopeful, emphasizing that true wealth is found in love, loyalty, honesty, and perseverance. A peaceful cinematic ending scene. Daniel and Victoria slowly walk away hand in hand along a quiet country road toward the glowing golden sunset. The camera captures them from behind, making them appear as silhouettes against the warm orange and golden sky. Gentle wind moves the grass on both sides of the road, and birds fly peacefully across the horizon. The atmosphere is calm, emotional, and inspiring, symbolizing that true love has conquered wealth and hardship. The scene feels like the final frame of a Hollywood movie.
A breathtaking peaceful valley in North America around the year 1525, long before the United States existed. Endless ancient forests, crystal clear river flowing through rolling green hills, golden sunrise illuminating the landscape, soft morning mist drifting across the valley, colorful wildflowers, birds flying across the glowing sky. A tiny weathered wooden cottage beside a quiet river surrounded by towering oak and pine trees, smoke gently rising from a stone chimney, a small vegetable garden and handmade wooden fence, warm golden sunrise, peaceful countryside, authentic early 16th century North America. Inside a humble wooden cottage, a loving mother named Hannah smiling warmly at her young son Samuel beside a glowing fireplace. Simple handmade furniture, candles, woven blankets, rustic wooden walls, peaceful family moment. Hannah sewing worn clothes beside a small wooden window while young Samuel carefully gathers firewood outside. Simple poor family living with dignity. Early morning light entering the cottage. Hannah sitting beside Samuel's small wooden bed reading a bedtime story by the warm glow of a single candle. Cozy wooden cottage, crackling fireplace, peaceful night, stars visible through the window.
Hannah gently holding Samuel's hands while promising to return soon, both standing outside their small wooden cottage at sunrise, soft golden light. Hannah walking alone along a narrow forest trail carrying a woven basket, surrounded by towering ancient pine trees, golden morning sunlight shining through the leaves, soft mist covering the forest floor. Young Samuel standing quietly outside the cottage watching his mother disappear into the endless forest. Warm sunrise behind her, lonely child. Young Samuel standing beside a small wooden window looking toward the distant forest every morning. Sunlight entering the room. Quiet wooden cottage, hopeful expression. Nighttime, young Samuel carefully lighting a single candle on the windowsill of the small wooden cottage. Warm glowing candlelight shining into the dark forest, millions of stars in the night sky.
Part 2. A lonely young boy named Samuel standing beside a small wooden cottage at sunrise, gazing toward a distant forest with hope in his eyes. Peaceful valley, rolling green hills, crystal clear river, soft morning mist, warm golden sunlight, early 16th century North America. A peaceful winter morning with a tiny wooden cottage covered in fresh white snow, tall pine trees blanketed in snow, frozen river, gentle snowfall, young Samuel wearing a simple wool cloak. A narrow snow-covered forest path disappearing into a dense ancient pine forest, soft morning fog, tall trees, young Samuel standing alone at the edge of the path waiting patiently. Compassionate villagers bringing warm bread, blankets, and firewood to Samuel's small wooden cottage, smiling kindly, peaceful snowy village, smoke rising from stone chimneys, warm afternoon sunlight. A cinematic time-lapse of Samuel growing from a little boy into a strong young man beside the same wooden cottage, changing seasons flowing around him, spring flowers, summer greenery, colorful autumn leaves, snowy winter. Young adult Samuel repairing the roof of his old wooden cottage with handmade tools, replacing broken wooden planks, colorful flowers blooming around the house, peaceful countryside, bright morning. Samuel offering warm soup and fresh bread to a tired traveler outside his cottage, glowing fireplace visible through the open door, snowy evening, kindness and compassion. A glowing candle shining brightly on the windowsill of Samuel's cottage at night, travelers in the distance following the warm light through the dark forest. Samuel standing quietly beside the cottage window during a snowy night, watching snowflakes drift through the darkness, warm candlelight illuminating his thoughtful face. A mysterious elderly traveler wearing a weathered brown cloak standing outside Samuel's wooden cottage on a cold snowy night, gently knocking on the wooden door, warm golden light glowing from inside the cottage, SN.
Part 3. A kind young man named Samuel warmly welcoming an exhausted elderly traveler into his humble wooden cottage on a cold winter night. Snow falling outside, warm candlelight glowing through the windows, rustic wooden interior, cozy fireplace, emotional cinematic scene, early 16th century North America. Samuel serving a bowl of hot vegetable soup, fresh bread, and warm herbal tea to the elderly traveler beside a crackling stone fireplace, simple wooden table. The elderly traveler sleeping peacefully near a glowing fireplace under a warm wool blanket, while Samuel quietly watches over him. Early morning sunlight entering the wooden cottage through a frosted window, the traveler's bed mysteriously empty, only a folded handwritten note resting on the blanket. Samuel standing quietly beside the cottage window with tears in his eyes while holding the letter close to his heart. Snow-covered valley outside. Warm candlelight inside. The glowing candle shining brightly on the windowsill as evening falls. Warm golden light reaching into the dark forest. Peaceful snowy landscape. Stars beginning to appear in the sky. Lost travelers walking through a dark snowy forest, guided by the warm glowing candle shining from Samuel's cottage in the distance. Peaceful night sky filled with stars, magical realism. Villagers and travelers gathered outside Samuel's cottage at sunset, quietly admiring the glowing candle in the window. Children smiling, peaceful village atmosphere. Samuel standing alone outside his cottage at sunrise, looking toward the distant forest with calm hope, the glowing candle still visible behind him through the window. An older Samuel with silver hair standing beside his small wooden cottage at sunrise, the same glowing candle shining in the window. Peaceful valley surrounded by ancient forests, crystal clear river. Kind villagers gathering outside Samuel's cottage at sunset, taking turns lighting the candle in the window, children watching with admiration, warm golden glow, peaceful village. Elderly Samuel sitting peacefully in a wooden chair beside the window, looking at the glowing candle with a gentle smile, warm fireplace, a peaceful bedroom inside the wooden cottage. Samuel resting quietly in his chair as the first golden rays of sunrise enter through the window, the candle still burning beside him. Villagers gathered beneath a giant ancient oak tree overlooking the valley, holding simple wildflowers during Samuel's peaceful farewell. Soft morning light. A young village child carefully lighting the same candle in Samuel's cottage window for the first time. Older villagers watching with gentle smiles. Warm evening glow, symbolic moment of hope. Years later, travelers walking safely through a dark forest, guided by the warm golden light shining from Samuel's cottage window. Peaceful star-filled sky. Ancient oak tree, children listening quietly as he tells the legend of Samuel and the candle of hope. Warm sunset, peaceful valley. Close-up of the glowing candle in the cottage window on a calm night, surrounded by darkness yet shining brightly. Stars filling the sky above, symbol of love, hope and kindness. A breathtaking final scene of the small wooden cottage at night in a peaceful valley. A single glowing candle shining through the window, endless ancient forests, mountains under a sky filled with brilliant stars, soft moonlight, gentle mist, timeless and emotional atmosphere.
A beautiful rural village at sunrise. Two childhood friends standing together, one rich and one poor. The rich friend wears elegant clothes and stands near a large luxurious house, while the poor friend wears simple clothes and stands near a small humble cottage. Behind them are mango orchards. The rich friend's orchard is huge, and the poor friend's orchard is smaller but well maintained. A vast mango orchard filled with thousands of mango trees, loaded with ripe golden mangoes. The rich farmer proudly walks through the orchard, admiring his wealth. Workers are harvesting mangoes. A small but beautiful mango orchard cared for by a humble poor farmer. He is watering the trees and working with dedication. Ripe mangoes hang from the branches. Villagers gathering in a village marketplace, buying fresh mangoes from two farmers. Colorful baskets filled with ripe mangoes, happy customers, lively village. A kind poor farmer giving baskets of ripe mangoes to hungry children, elderly people, and poor families. The people smile with gratitude. A wealthy farmer standing beside piles of mangoes, refusing to give fruit to poor villagers. The villagers look disappointed while the rich man appears selfish and serious. Villagers surrounding the kind poor farmer, thanking him and offering blessings. Smiling faces, joyful atmosphere, mango orchard in the background, poor families struggling during hard times in a village. The generous farmer opens his orchard gates and shares mangoes freely with everyone. Grateful villagers receiving food, a powerful storm approaching a rural village, dark clouds, strong winds, heavy rain, lightning in the sky. Mango trees shaking violently. A large mango orchard devastated by a storm. Broken trees, fallen mangoes covering the ground. The wealthy farmer standing in shock and sadness. A small mango orchard after a storm. Some damaged trees, but many still standing. The poor farmer looks worried, but hopeful. Cloudy sky clearing after rain. Villagers working together to repair a poor farmer's orchard. People fixing fences, cleaning fallen branches, supporting each other. The wealthy farmer standing alone beside his damaged orchard, watching villagers help the poor farmer. His face shows regret and sadness. An elderly villager speaking wisely to the rich farmer while pointing toward villagers helping the poor farmer. The rich farmer visiting the poor farmer's home with a humble expression. He apologizes sincerely, while the poor farmer listens kindly. Two friends shaking hands and smiling warmly after reconciliation. Mango orchards visible behind them. Rich friend changes his life. The formerly selfish rich farmer now distributing baskets of mangoes to poor families and children. Happy villagers receiving help. A joyful village celebration with both farmers standing together. Villagers smiling, children playing, baskets of mangoes everywhere. Two thriving mango orchards side by side, filled with healthy trees and golden mangoes. The two friends proudly stand together, surrounded by happy villagers. A breathtaking sunset over two beautiful mango orchards. The two friends walk together along a village path, while villagers smile in the background. Symbol of kindness, friendship.
A breathtaking North American wilderness around the year 1526, before the United States existed. Endless ancient forests, majestic oak and pine trees, crystal clear rivers, rolling green hills, golden sunrise, soft morning mist, birds flying across the glowing sky, untouched wilderness, peaceful atmosphere, cinematic wide shot. A small peaceful woodland village made of handmade wooden cabins beside a quiet river, smoke rising gently from stone chimneys. Villagers beginning their morning surrounded by dense forest and mountains. Warm sunrise, a poor wooden cabin beneath a giant oak tree, broken roof, worn wooden walls, tiny vegetable garden. Morning sunlight shining softly through trees, peaceful but humble atmosphere. Young Elias wearing simple worn linen clothes, standing outside his small cabin with a gentle smile despite poverty, sunlight illuminating his hopeful face. Forest. Young Elias walking through a dense ancient forest, collecting firewood, tall pine trees, beams of golden sunlight passing through leaves, birds flying overhead. Peaceful morning. An elderly mysterious traveler wearing a weathered brown cloak, sitting beside a fallen tree deep in the forest, looking tired and hungry. Soft morning light filtering through the trees. Magical, yet realistic atmosphere. Young Elias kindly giving his last piece of bread and fresh water to the old traveler, both sitting peacefully beneath giant trees, warm golden sunlight. The mysterious traveler placing a tiny glowing golden seed into Elias's open hand, magical golden light illuminating their faces. Elias kneeling on a peaceful hill at sunrise, planting the magical golden seed into rich soil where the first sunlight touches the earth. Glowing morning light, rolling green hills. Elias returning day after day to the small patch of earth, watching patiently as seasons slowly change from spring to autumn. Nothing growing yet, hopeful expression.
Tiny silver-green sprout emerging from the magical soil at sunrise, sparkling dew, soft morning mist, ancient North American forest. Elias watching in amazement. A magnificent young tree with shimmering silver leaves glowing under the first rays of sunrise. Elias standing nearby in wonder. Peaceful hill. The first glowing golden fruit appearing on the silver tree as the morning sun touches its branches, sparkling magical light. Elias carefully reaching out to pick the glowing golden fruit with a humble smile. Elias opening the magical fruit to reveal pure shining gold inside. Golden light illuminating his amazed face. Elias walking into a small 16th century frontier trading village carrying a small pouch of gold. Wooden market stalls. Friendly merchants examining Elias's gold with surprise and respect. Exchanging goods fairly. Busy wooden marketplace. Elias repairing his old wooden cabin into a stronger, beautiful home. Neighbors helping. Warm afternoon sunlight. Peaceful village. Elias giving food, warm blankets, and supplies to poor families. Smiling children, grateful villagers. A once poor village transformed into a thriving, peaceful community with beautiful wooden homes, flourishing farms, clean wells, happy families, lush greenery, golden morning light. Part 2. Elias loading wooden carts with valuable goods and carefully packed gold, leaving his peaceful village at sunrise. Wealthy merchants from distant kingdoms arriving to meet Elias, wearing authentic 16th century clothing, shaking hands respectfully in a busy wooden marketplace. Large 16th century wooden sailing ships loaded with trade goods and treasure, leaving a peaceful harbor at sunrise, calm blue ocean, golden sky warehouses, trading posts, wooden ships, and prosperous farmland. Humble expression despite enormous wealth. A beautiful wooden schoolhouse under construction. Children smiling with handmade books. Elias watching proudly. Workers building a strong wooden bridge across a crystal-clear river and digging a fresh water well while Elias helps the villagers. Lush green landscape. Travelers and merchants speaking about Elias with admiration in a crowded marketplace. Pointing toward his prosperous village. Royal messengers in elegant historical clothing arriving on horseback with banners and scrolls to visit Elias. Majestic forest road. Elias standing beneath the magical silver tree speaking calmly to the royal envoys. The glowing tree behind him. Elias sitting quietly beneath the magical morning tree as the sun rises. Silver leaves sparkling. Golden fruits glowing softly above him. An elderly, mysterious traveler in a weathered brown cloak arriving at Elias's magnificent wooden estate on a cold autumn evening, carrying a walking staff. Soft rain falling, Elias warmly welcoming the old traveler into his grand wooden home, offering fresh bread, hot soup, and a comfortable chair beside a glowing fireplace. The mysterious traveler peacefully sleeping beside a crackling fireplace while Elias quietly places a warm blanket over him. Early morning sunlight entering the wooden house, the guest's bed now empty, only a folded handwritten note resting on the blanket, Elias standing in surprise. Close-up of Elias reading the handwritten note while golden magical light gently surrounds him. The words glowing softly, emotional expression. The magical silver tree standing taller and more magnificent than ever, covered with countless glowing golden fruits beneath a brilliant sunrise. Elias overseeing the construction of schools, bridges, libraries, hospitals, and peaceful villages, happy families, children learning, flourishing countryside, golden afternoon. An elderly Elias with white hair sitting peacefully beneath the morning tree, smiling as the first rays of sunlight touch his face, silver leaves shimmering above him. Years later, children gathered beneath the magical tree as an elderly storyteller shares the legend of Elias. Breathtaking panoramic view of the magical morning tree standing alone on a peaceful hill at sunrise, silver leaves sparkling like stars, glowing golden fruits.